If the world has a major intersection where ships crisscross from ocean to ocean, the Panama Canal is one of the most important in the world. And for more than 1,000 passengers on the MS Veendam lining every railing and point of view, a lifetime dream was about to come true. A full ocean-to-ocean canal transit from the Atlantic to the Pacific.
I didn't want to just go through, turn around on the lake, which you still get the lock experience, but I wanted to do the whole thing from east to west.
Passengers began lining the decks as early as 5 a.m. on our trip, long before daylight. But then they had to wait because the reality is that moving through the Panama Canal is a slow, methodical process, sometimes delayed by the number of ships waiting to take a turn, sometimes by paperwork. Slowly, and I do mean slowly, we approached the first lock right behind our sister ship, the Zuiderdam. Most fascinating at this point is seeing ships stacked one above the other in the locks. What was most helpful during our transit was the narrator the Canal Authority provided to explain the whole process.
This canal is one of the engineering marvel of all time. It's over 100 years and over 1 million ships have already been through this canal. And over 94% of his equipment are the same from 1914 until now because of the proper maintenance and because we have a well-trained and well-motivated workforce.
We transited through the older, narrower side of the canal, where the small locomotives, or mules as they're known, use multiple cables to keep the ship centered as it moves forward under her own power. Those cables, by the way, are hand-delivered by those two guys in a rowboat.
To have the locomotive engines connect two cables to the ship, run along on the tracks beside the ship and keep everything going, I thought was amazing.
Now, needless to say that visitors aren't allowed on the ship's bridge during this delicate operation, but a few days after our passage, we got a chance to talk with our captain, Noel O'Driscoll. He called this operation a complicated team affair that includes several local pilots.
Because there's 3 pilots, in fact. There's one on the bridge and 2 guys aft. And they will keep the mules in such a position with their wires, tension or slack, keeping us in the middle. So as the water level rises or drops, depending on where you are, they'll keep you centered at all times and off the walls. And then you just move all the way through.
While most people watched from the outside railings, others chose the drier crow's nest with its panoramic views. Some others found the treadmills in the gym a pretty good spot, and a dry one too. Now, once you get through the 3 locks coming from the Caribbean side, most of the day is spent cruising through this man-made lake over to the Pacific side.
How many millions of gallons it takes to have one ship go through the canal and then the water's just pumped into the ocean from the fresh lake is just astounding to me.
It doesn't matter if this is your first transit or too many to count. It's always an exciting day. And as much as we were fascinated by the other ships passing by, those merchant mariners just as curious about us. No doubt that on that side, it was just happiness of finally seeing other people after weeks at sea.
Now, I think most of you know that all ships passing through the canal have to pay a transit fee. Now, I'm told that the average transit fee is about $160,000 per ship. But for something like the MS Veendam, the passenger ship we're on, it's about $200,000. But you know what the lowest toll was ever charged? I do. You know why? Because it was in the LA Times crossword puzzle a couple months ago. And the question was, its lowest toll ever was 36 cents, charged in 1928 to a swimmer. As you can see right there, I got it right, Panama Canal. Of course, I'm guessing by now, nobody swims the canal. They take a cruise ship, of course.
Night was starting to fall as we made it to the Pacific side. Here we only had 2 locks to go through, but the gates were far bigger, about 730 tons each. Our final factoid from the narrator.
Now, the reason why we have the smallest sets of gates on the Caribbean side, because we have a 8 to 10 inches tide in the Caribbean, and over the Pacific side we have a 22 feet tide.
The Panama Canal has been impressing people for more than a century, and today was certainly no different, as we all shared in that history. And for Captain O'Driscoll, it was a good day at work that went just as planned.
Like any hard day's work, it feels great to have brought the ship from one ocean to another ocean, you know, and we brought the ship all the way through safely and according to plan.